Now that we have all the basic parts of our thumbnail, I'm going to show you guys how you can make it a little bit more visually complex by adding things such as gradient or having the letters interact with each other. So the first thing I'll show you is how to use the gradient tab. It's just another option for a fill that gives it a layer of depth. If you first select the object that you want to add the gradient to, in this case I'll choose my S. As I mentioned before, this is the fill, which is yellow, and then the stroke is red in my case, this reddish color. If I come down here, this would mean there's no fill. Right, you can see it takes away the fill. This would be back for the color, and this one in the middle is for a gradient. A gradient, as you can see, is like a fade from black to white. You can also make it colors by kind of picking some colors over here and putting as many stops. I can make it go maybe yellow to red, back to yellow if I wanted to. So you have a lot of options as far as this goes, but you can see as I slide this how it kind of changes. If I want to alter the color that's right here, double click here, and I can, from my swatches, choose yellow instead, so I can do yellow and white. Play around with the gradient till you get something that you like. I just did one on the background rectangle and on the S itself. The other thing I might do, maybe I'll fatten up this V a little bit. It looks a little bit skinny. Give it one more punch up in size. And now I don't really like how the overlap thing looks. I kind of want to either join some of my letters or combine them in certain ways, so I'll show you some ways that we could do that. To see the box that shows you how the letters can interact, if you come up here to Window tab, click that. These are all different boxes that can do different things for you in Illustrator. If you come down to the one that says Pathfinder, they're alphabetical. If you go to that one, it gives you a couple of options about how shapes can relate to other shapes. We're mostly interested in this bottom section here where it says divide, trim, merge, crop, outline, and minus back. So if I select two of my shapes, I clicked on the V. Let's say I want to do the S. If I hold shift and click the S as well, now I have the S and the V selected. And let me try, if I click trim, oh, that one didn't do anything. Let's see, divide. Okay, so that's kind of interesting where it kept the V kind of imprinted into the S. That could be useful, especially I could do things like this. Let me do Control Z to undo that. What I'll do first is make a copy of my V. Control C, Control V, I made a copy. I'll put it off to the side for right now. Now I'm going to redo what I just did. Select both. Hold shift. Trim. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Divide. Now if I put my V back where it was and I send it down to the bottom, let's see. That's kind of a cool effect where it looks like the V, it's kind of like you can see it through the S, one option. What this also did was it broke up my S into segments, as you can see. So if I click that segment, it's editable on its own. I could do something like this where parts of it become a different color if I wanted to. So you have a lot of options as far as how to break up the text, how to make them interact in different ways. Maybe I'll do something now between this other V and the S. Kind of, it's getting a little abstract, but a little bit more interesting visually. I think what I'll do now is make a copy of my back V. Control C, Control V, copy and paste. Move it off to the side. Maybe it might be interesting if the V was in the background, but then it came in front of the S, which seems to be in the front. So if I click that V, this part of the S, and I crop it, it left me with a little piece here. Let's see. I might have to copy this piece too. Let's see. Okay. Hold Shift, select both, crop. Alright, something weird happening with that line, but otherwise the V is behind the other V yet in front of the S. Play around till you have something that you like, and then what we can do is if you select everything by just dragging a box over your whole thumbnail, what we can do is if we go to Object and then Group, or press Control G as the shortcut, we can group everything together so you can move it all at once. There's many different ways to edit things and get different looks in Illustrator. One other thing I want to show you is if I grab everything, I can play with the Effects tab, which is similar to like putting a filter on something in Photoshop. If I click Effects, it gives you different things to make things look three-dimensional, make them look painterly, artistic effects. The one issue with some of this is that what it's going to do is it'll make some of your vector graphics back into raster graphics, meaning made out of dots. However, let's see. This one that says color halftones, you might recognize this from like a comic book kind of look, but give it a second to work here. Okay. See, if I zoom in, it's intentionally making it look like it's a raster kind of graphic. You can see it's made out of little dots, but it is actually pixelated if I zoom in, right? It looks like it changed it into a raster file with that effect. So just be careful which one you choose, because when you scale it up or down, it could have negative effects on the quality of your graphic. But that one looks pretty cool to me.